Well, okay, let me.
You speak French or no?
I do.
Are you more comfortable English or French?
English.
English? All right. So you believe Jesus? You believe in Jesus?
That's a good question. I do believe in Jesus, but depends on what you mean by Jesus.
Jesus of the Bible.
Of the Bible, I want to say yes. I would settle with yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
You believe in God?
I do believe in God.
Yeah. Okay. Do you believe that Jesus is the Son of God?
Listen, right? I was born Muslim. You don't actually really accept that idea, but I do understand the idea of him being the Son of God. Yes. Yeah, I do agree with you. I do.
Do you still consider yourself a Muslim?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't really mix with the ideas. A lot of aggression, a lot of, I'm like, yeah, I kind of like love. I think this whole thing is about love. And it's like the ultimate representation of love, but not like the bullshit kind of love. Actual love.
But you know the Jesus of the Bible and the Jesus of the Quran are two completely different
They're
Jesus.
not the same person. They're not the same person, which is why I'm like, yeah, I don't really abide by that. Comes with consequences, but at the same time, I'm just like, okay, I was born Muslim, begins, but I think from all the religions, Christianity really attracts me. I'm not mainly Christian, but very close.
Well, the difference with Christianity, if you compare it to all other religions, Christianity is actually the only religion that could be proven. Well, first of all, we could give scientific arguments, but since you want to hear the scientific arguments?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. So,
That makes sense, no?
right. So the best explanation of how this universe came into existence is that there has to be an immaterial, all-powerful, eternal, intelligent God. Right?
Yeah.
So scientifically we discovered that the universe has a beginning. Did you know that?
Yes.
Yeah. So if the universe has a beginning, that means that the universe has to have a cause, right? Because according to everything that we have observed, everything that has an effect.
Not necessarily. Cause and effect is mostly how we perceive reality in general.
Yeah.
We see things happen. But I imagine if there is a realm beyond that, maybe that's not a rule. Who knows?
Right. So if we go by like everything that we could observe with our senses,
Yeah.
we could see that everything that has a beginning has a cause.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everything that has a beginning has a cause. That's what we call the law of causality.
Yes,
Right?
it is.
So because of this law,
Yeah.
we could come to a logical conclusion that if the universe has a beginning, the universe has to have a cause, right? Something had to cause the universe to come into existence.
Yeah, but what if the universe was here to begin with?
You mean what if the universe was eternal?
No, I mean the very concept of beginning. I mean, is very human in general. Why is it? I mean, God doesn't have a beginning.
Right, God doesn't have a beginning, correct.
So there is such a thing as not beginning.
There is such a thing as eternity. Yeah, definitely.
What I mean,
Right,
exactly.
right.
To my
But-
point.
right.
Is the universe eternal, or did it have a beginning?
Right. So
Well, scientifically, the Big Bang. But science is limited. That's the thing.
Right.
It progresses.
Right. So the reason why I say that we could prove it scientifically is because we could actually go with the scientific consensus of how the universe came into existence in order to come to a logical conclusion that it had to be a creator. There had to be a creator, right?
Yeah.
So according to the scientific consensus, we know that the universe does have a beginning. The universe was not eternal, right? So time, matter, and space at some point came into existence, right? The reason why we know this is because the universe is expanding. We know also that the second law of thermodynamics, it says that the energy and heat is limited, right, in the universe, right? That means if the universe was eternal, the universe would have been done away with a long time ago because the energy would have gone.
But I want to challenge that though. What if the universe, as an eternal thing, goes through cycles, meaning of expansion and
Tu veux
contraction?
prendre une photo? Ok, ben viens, on prend une photo. Hey, you can stick around. I'm just gonna take a photo with them. I don't want them to wait.
The discussion is very interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Ça va?
Follow sur TikTok.
Ok, que Dieu vous bénisse. God bless you guys. God bless you guys.
Merci.
Ça fait plaisir. Que Dieu te bénisse.
Je suis musulman, mais yo, je te respecte.
Ok, tu veux un débat?
Non.
Ok, ben parle avec lui, mon ami. Parle avec lui. Parle avec lui.
Are you on YouTube or something?
Yeah.
Yo, I gotta see your channel there. Because I might be there. If I'm there, I'll be like, oh,
Yeah, you'll be there.
Nice.
You'll be on TikTok probably. So,
Cool.
Yeah, because my content is in French. But yeah.
All right.
So yeah,
But okay, that was my point though. What if, like, because science is limited in the way that they see things. Like, they see things from one perspective, let's say. What if the universe was eternal and it goes through cycles, like everything in the universe?
Yeah.
Contraction, expansion, contraction.
So, yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, that's a
but
theory.
the time frame. Yes, that's a theory. But if you don't live for that long, you cannot tell.
But scientifically, that theory cannot be proven, right?
Yes, but what happened before the Big Bang?
That's the question.
Nobody knows.
Well,
But there are possibilities. It might have been the beginning, or there was an expansion before and then contracted to another Big Bang, and then that's another theory of physics.
right. But that theory it doesn't work because of the second law of thermodynamics.
How?
Because there is a limited amount of energy in the
Yes,
universe,
but
right?
all that energy.
Yeah, so with time, that energy will at some point will be no more, right? So if the universe,
I'm not so sure.
if the universe is eternal,
Energy cannot be destroyed. Only transforms.
well, energy is
can destroy
limited.
It's limited.
Yeah, exactly. It's limited in the sense
limited.
that it cannot exist eternally.
No, but this is what I mean. No. Limited in its quantity.
No.
But how do I say that? You're talking about the law of thermodynamics.
Second law of thermodynamics. Yeah.
It's more about transformation than actually. You can't lose anything in the universe. It's like energy, like the quantity of material we have is the same. It just changes from one stage to another.
And we're talking about energy specifically, right?
You can't even
energy cannot exist for eternity. And there is scientifically there is a limited amount of energy in the universe. At some point, it will waste away. Yeah, this is a scientific consensus. This is the second, what we know as the second law of thermodynamics.
Yeah, but this is okay. What about the law of conservation of matter and energy? That's a law.
What do you mean by that?
The law of conservation of law and energy from who? I don't remember off the top of my head. But it means you cannot create or destroy energy. It only transforms. That's a law of physics.
Okay,
a
but
literal one.
right, but that doesn't refute the second law of thermodynamics. Still, the second law of thermodynamics tells us that there is a limited amount of energy that at some point will be no more, right?
That I'm not so sure.
Well, you could fact
That energy cannot be no more. I'm like, well, if that's the case, it means that energy is getting destroyed.
No.
In general, for it to be less and less up until it gets to zero.
Yeah.
But from what I know from physics, you cannot destroy energy. It only transforms from one state to another.
Okay, but that's literally the definition of the second law of thermodynamics. That's the meaning that energy is limited, and with time, things become less and less orderly.
That's true,
right?
but it doesn't respect the law of conservation of matter.
So-
Meaning,
So, what is the second law of thermodynamics for you?
it might be that, but I know there is a law about physics. You can check it right now.
Yeah.
I don't have my phone, but you can just check.
Right.
I believe there is a law of conservation of matter, meaning you never lose any molecule or energy. It just transforms from one state to another. It appears as if it disappeared. But if we don't lose matter, how can you get to zero?
Okay. So, do you agree that matter has a beginning?
That's the point of our discussion to begin with.
Right. So
Because
this is the
okay, I'll
Right.
just
Go ahead.
do the referee for a second. You believe that at some point energy is going to get to zero.
yes.
And I don't believe that because I know for a fact there is a law of conservation of matter. You don't lose energy. If you don't lose energy in a container, How can you get to zero? It doesn't.
Because energy, the more it is used, the less there is, right?
No,
So
the-
even the sun itself cannot exist eternally.
Yes,
the
but
stars cannot exist eternally.
Yes.
Everything that is regarding
But the
heat
energy-
and energy
that's-
and light
that's the
has
po-
a limit.
No, that's the point. A limit in how they emit the energy. But even the sun, it gives energy, but the energy doesn't just disappear.
It doesn't disappear,
It's
but
used,
but
transformed,
eventually,
and used
eventually
somewhere
there
else.
will be no more energy. There will be no more heat, light, or energy. Anyways, that's the scientific consensus. That is what is the second law of thermodynamics.
I invite you to go look at the law of conservation of matter, because you cannot create or destroy energy. It only transforms. Any energy, it appears that way, but like matter in general, water, you can get into ice and then steam and then water and then back to ice and then the cycles repeat. But you don't lose the water. You don't lose a single molecule of water in the whole process.
Okay, so
Matter is the same way.
can you agree with me that
Yeah.
time, matter,
Good
and
debate.
space has a beginning? Can you agree with me with that?
Now that I think about it, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. So this is the scientific consensus. I don't know if you're aware.
I'm not sure it is. that's the point. We can go check on ChatGPT.
I mean, I've already done my research, bro. But are you familiar with the law of general relativity by Albert Einstein?
Yes, I'm very much into physics.
Right.
So very hard to surprise me.
Right. So according to Einstein, time, matter, and space have to coexist, right? You cannot have one without the other.
Relative.
Right? Yeah, it's relative, right? And so, also according to Einstein,
Do you mind if I smoke? You don't
no,
smoke.
it's okay. It's okay. You could.
Are you sure?
I don't smoke, but
But I don't
it's
want
good.
to
It's
have
good.
the.
Yeah. It's up to you.
I can take
It's up to you, bro. It's up to you. I don't know.
I don't want to
you,
bro. Okay,
Just
never
stay on
mind.
camera. Stay on
The
camera.
debate is very This is what I like about debate.
Yeah.
I don't want you to agree with me or me agree with you.
Yeah.
The whole point of debating is actually grinding this because we're trying to get to the truth
Right.
at the end of the day.
Right.
I don't claim to have it, you don't claim to have it.
Right.
Let's get to it.
Right.
Listen.
Right. So Albert Einstein, right?
Yes.
Before he discovered the theory of general relativity,
Yeah.
and before he saw through the telescope that the universe was expanding,
Yeah.
he thought the universe was eternal, right?
Yes.
But then because of the scientific evidence, right, like the expansion of the universe, the law of general relativity, he came to the conclusion that the universe had to have a beginning, right? This is Albert Einstein's conclusion.
It can have a beginning. Okay, maybe there's a nuance that you need to understand. I'm not saying it didn't have a beginning. Okay, no, you asked me the question, I said no. So it's on record. I cannot
No,
say
you
otherwise.
said yes in the beginning.
No.
You said yes in the beginning,
but
and then
the
you
more I
changed your
think-
position.
No, but it's not mutually exclusive, is what I mean.
Yes,
The
it is.
beginning doesn't mean that it began there. It's just no. Let me rephrase it. It's not that it didn't have a beginning, but the beginning and a beginning is different. Which is why I was saying it could very much be expansion, contraction, so contracted, another big bang, and then we go again.
I understand, but that
That can
theory,
be a possibility.
that theory doesn't have any evidence, and actually it can be disproven because of the law of thermodynamics. The
But it
second
can
law
be
of
proven by the law of
thermodynamics.
conservation, though. That's
No.
the thing.
The law of conservation cannot disprove the law of thermodynamics. That the universe, that
Because I feel like your
energy is
definition of
limited.
the law of thermodynamics is a bit.
Do you have your phone?
Not right now, but
Yeah.
somebody, anybody,
Yeah.
please.
So, if we just
What
go,
was his name? You know, the guy who had the apple falling on his head?
Apple 4?
No, the
Apple phone?
great scientist who discovered gravity.
Oh,
With his name?
Isaac Newton?
Newton.
Yeah.
He very much said he transcribed the law of conservation. You cannot create or destroy energy, only transforms.
So,
Meaning the same quantity you have is the same, just in different forms, but the same.
So,
Meaning.
according to the most updated information that we have, right? Like Richard Dawkins, Stephen Hawking, Albert Einstein, he's still 20th century, right? Arthur Eddington is the one who saw through the telescope, who discovered that the universe is expanding. So, according to all these scientists, all of them agree that the universe has a beginning.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you that it has had a beginning, meaning a point of contraction.
No, they don't say that though. That's what you're saying.
No, okay, whatever beginning means for you.
So time, matter, and space at some point did not exist.
Yeah, like it was in development, let's say.
No,
but no. Hear me out. Big Bang. Beginning. But the beginning or a beginning. That's
okay, let's define what we mean, okay?
Exactly.
What I mean by the beginning,
yes.
I mean
the very first
when time, matter, and space came into existence. At some point, there was a point where time, matter, and space did not exist.
I agree with you.
Okay, so you agree that the universe
But
has
how
a
many
beginning?
times?
One time, man. One time.
That's where we don't agree.
But in that
For
case,
you,
you need to give evidence. You need to give evidence because you can't just say this is how it is.
But you cannot prove it either. That was only one time.
Did.
No.
The fact that the universe is expanding.
No. Okay.
The second law of
The scientific
thermodynamics.
dilemma in general, they don't know what the fuck happened. The scientific consensus.
Yeah, but I'm telling you what we do
Is
know.
that what we do know is we don't know what happened before the Big Bang.
Fine, but we know that time, matter, and space at some point had a beginning.
I agree with you.
Okay, thank you. So can we start with
No,
that?
not whatever.
Are we in agreement, my friend, that time, matter, and space at some point had a beginning?
Yes, but how many times is my question.
That doesn't make sense. That's incoherent. Because time, matter, and space cannot have a beginning before it had a beginning.
But then you can prove me otherwise either. Because
No, it's
the
illogical.
scientists themselves,
No,
they
it's-
don't know. They
That-
have one speculation about what happened before the Big Bang. And what
Okay,
I
so
told
I'm going
you
with
is
what we
one
do
of
know.
the theories.
I know that's one of the theories. But
What
that
you're
theory
saying is a
not,
theory as well.
I know, but no. My theory, okay?
It is a theory.
My theory is
At
the
least I agree on
scientific
that.
consensus. The Big Bang theory is a scientific consensus that the universe has a beginning. So it's not that
It does. I agree with you.
So it's not like we believe in something without evidence.
Yes.
Right? So we actually have evidence.
Okay. Maybe you don't understand each other on that point. I don't disagree with you that the universe had a beginning.
Okay, good.
But is it the first beginning? This is where we go into the territory of you don't know what the fuck happened before.
Okay,
It had been,
but-
maybe it was another universe that contracted because that's a lot. That's a theory as
Okay.
well.
So if you're okay,
Yeah.
if you agree with me that time, matter, and
Oh,
space,
makes
that time, matter, and space has a beginning, right? You
Yes.
agree with me.
I agree
Then
with
you
that.
agree with me that before time, matter, and space, there was no time, matter, and space. That's what
Yes.
the beginning means.
Yes, but
Okay,
this is
thank
not
you.
a wild concept.
This is
just-
the scientific consensus.
No, it's just for our brains. It's very hard to conceive that
Well-
there is a time that there wasn't time and space, but it's very much possible.
Okay.
I don't disagree with you.
Okay, good. So, because
supposed to
we
be-
need, in order to move forward, we need
Yeah.
to have a common grounding, right?
Yes.
So, time, matter, and space had a beginning.
Yes.
Okay, so the universe had a beginning.
Of course it did.
Okay, good.
I agree
now,
with you.
now, the question now.
What's
the question is,
actually?
before the universe came into existence,
Yeah.
right? Either the universe was caused by something, or it was caused by nothing. Okay, those are the two options, right?
You don't know all your options. There might be another option
What
that
is
you
the
don't
other? What is
see
the
it.
other option?
I don't know it, but
Okay, so we have to go with the empirical
what we
evidence.
know exactly. You're right.
Empirical evidence that we have, and we work with probability. Okay?
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Nothing can be proven 100%. That's why we go with evidence,
Right.
probability. You know,
Exactly.
so we have to go with probability, right?
Yeah.
So before the universe came into existence, there was no time, matter, and space, right? Because time, matter, and space has a beginning.
Yeah.
So the question is, either the universe was caused by something that is outside of time, matter, and space, or the universe popped out of nowhere without a cause, right?
Well, not very likely.
Exactly.
Which is why I believe in God.
Exactly.
We asked
That's
me
my
at the
whole
beginning,
point.
I'm like, yeah, that was never a point of discussion.
Yeah. So
I
that's my
was
whole
thinking
point.
like to begin with.
Right. So to believe that the universe popped into existence without a cause is nonsensical.
Yeah, kind of, very much so.
Exactly.
Very.
So now we have to question what was that cause. Now because this cause is outside of time, matter, and space, right? This cause has to be immaterial, not in matter, not material, right? It has to be immaterial.
Yes.
It has to be outside of time. Outside of time, it means it has to be eternal.
Yeah.
Right. Outside of space means that it has to be not limited by space.
Yeah.
Right. Also, this being
Yeah.
obviously had to be all powerful because this cause was able to create the whole universe, right? So we have an entity that is immaterial, that is all powerful, that is eternal, and obviously extremely intelligent because he was able to create the universe, right?
Yeah, the intelligence.
And we know this entity is personal because only a person could decide to create, right? So, with those conclusions, we come to a conclusion that there is a creator that is able to create the universe, a creator that is all powerful, immaterial, outside of time and space, right? And so these are all the descriptions that we see of the God of the Bible.
Yeah.
So that is the scientific proof for the existence of God.
Yeah.
You agree with me now, right?
No, I agree with you. Yeah, so far, yes.
Okay, good. So the only reason why I went through this because you already told me you believe in God, but you asked me to go through this, so that's why I went through it with you.
No, I
So-
definitely do. If you don't, I'm like, okay,
Right.
what is your head really?
Right. And so you agree with me that this God is unlimited. So it cannot be multiple gods, right? It has to be one God that is unlimited, outside time and space, immutable, right? Without limits,
pretty much,
right?
yeah.
So it has to be a monotheistic God, right?
Yeah.
So what does that leave us with? If we examine the monotheistic religions, right? We have Judaism, we have Islam, and we
Yeah.
have Christianity, right?
Interesting. Yeah. I know. Good example.
Now there are also other religions that will claim to be monotheist as well. I mean, we could get into that as well,
Yeah.
right? But according to all the monotheistic religions and even religions in general, my claim is that Christianity is the only religion that could be proven historically, scientifically, like I just did, and historically, right?
The only one, I don't know. Because, listen, I've studied religion for years, okay? And they all have good points, but it's not for nothing that despite all my research, I'm pretty attracted to Christianity in particular.
Yeah. Well, according to my research and according to the thousands of conversations I've had, there's not a single person who's willing to give me a proof for the religion other than Christians. Right? So, do you want to know the proof for Christianity?
Of course.
Yeah. So we go with the historical consensus now, right?
Okay.
So now we know historically that Jesus was a person who lived in Israel in the first century, right? This is historical fact because we have independent.
That was actually a good question of mine. Was he really there, or was it like, a collective dream?
Yeah.
Let's say,
Well,
of having a savior, because everybody wants a savior. Everybody wants to be saved.
Well, the historicity of Jesus can be proven. Why? Because we have early sources that date from the first century that attest that Jesus
I
Christ.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So we have Christian sources, non-Christian sources. They all affirm that Jesus was a rabbi who
from
lived in the first
different
century.
sides, so you cannot deny it.
Yeah, unbiased sources.
Cool.
And also, we can establish historically that Jesus was crucified on a cross
Okay.
under the government Pontius Pilate, right? This is a historically established fact,
Stupid. Sure.
right?
Well,
So,
I see why though.
so we know historically that Jesus was crucified. Now, the question is, did he rise again from the dead? Okay, that's the question.
Yeah.
Now, my challenge is to prove to you that Jesus did resurrect from the dead, right? Now, if you were an atheist, it would be more challenging because I would have to prove to you that the supernatural is possible.
Yeah, my level.
But because you believe in God, you accept that the supernatural is possible, right?
Yes.
Right. So it's not out of the
It's not possible. It's certain.
So it's not out of the question that Jesus could rise again from the dead supernaturally.
It's a possibility.
Right. It's one of the possibilities, right?
That needs to be proven, though.
Right. Because if you're an atheist, no matter what arguments I give you, you're going to reject the supernatural because you have a materialistic worldview.
No, it's like a dead end discussion.
Exactly. But because you're open to the supernatural, now we can look at the evidence with a non-biased point of view.
Yeah.
So, according to the historically established facts in the first century surrounding the crucifixion, we know that the disciples, they began to proclaim that they saw Jesus resurrect from the dead. Right? This is historically established in the first century. Now, how do we know they were telling the truth? It's because they were willing to suffer and die for the proclamation of the resurrection of Jesus. So that means that they didn't have any motivation to lie. Right?
That's proof?
Yeah, it's proof. It's historically established. The strongest evidence.
Listen, I don't know if I agree on that. Because people do a lot of things for a variety of reasons.
No photo?
Désolé.
C'est bon, c'est bon, c'est bon.
Non mais tu veux prendre une photo avec son fond? Ben, oh yeah. J'adore le fond.
So yeah, let me respond to your refutation, because you responded to my argument that just because the disciples died for what they believe, it's not convincing for you. Because,
But I didn't finish. What I was saying is, people do a variety of reasons, a variety of things for a variety of reasons. Most of all, faith.
Yeah.
When you believe something, you're willing to die for it.
Yeah.
Whether it's real or not. If you believe it, you believe it.
Yeah.
You don't give up. You don't care.
Right.
So when you say proof, I'm like, well, of course, if they all believed it, they would die for it.
Right.
Doesn't mean it's true or real.
I get your argument, but let me tell you the difference.
All proofs.
The difference between the disciples of Jesus dying for the resurrection and, let's say, jihadists who think that they're gonna go to heaven if
That's
they.
a very good example, actually.
Right. Let me address the example.
Yeah.
The difference is the disciples of Jesus, they were eyewitnesses of the crucifixion, and they were there during the time that Jesus rose again from the dead. So what that means is they were in a position to know if the resurrection was true or false. Right?
Yes, but at the same time, they're the most biased because they're the closest to him. They loved him the most.
Right.
So they're the most to actually say something like
Right.
that.
But let's
You know
say
what I mean?
I understand what you mean. But let's say the crucifixion did not happen. The resurrection did not happen. They would know that it didn't happen, right? So they would be going off a lie.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the difference.
Yeah, but it's still possible because
Okay.
when you really believe in something,
Yeah.
you want to believe it.
Well, this is where evidence comes into play, right?
Evidence.
Because like you articulated very well,
Yeah.
there are many people who could die for what they believe. And we see this throughout history.
Oh, yeah.
But in history, you will not find a single person, right, but you will not find a single person who is willing to die for something they know is false. That's the difference.
Well, that's actually the point, not the difference. But that's the actual point. That they know it's a lie. Well, people lie to themselves every day, especially when you literally deeply believe in it.
Yeah.
You're
No.
way more likely.
That would not be a lie. If they believed in it, they would believe to have seen it, right? But if it's a lie, they know that it's false, right? So if they were in a position to know if the resurrection was true or false, they died for this proclamation and it was not true, then that means that they would be willing to die for a lie. Okay? So
I'm not saying it's a lie or it's not a lie. What I'm saying is it's a very dangerous position to proclaim anything. Why? Especially because in the position that you are, you're so biased that it can happen consciously or unconsciously.
right, but then you have to give me evidence.
But you might. Well, you would have to give the evidence.
No. Yeah, that's what I'm giving, right?
Well,
but you need to give counter evidence,
no.
right? So what I'm
That's
saying.
an evidence based on what you think of the psychology. But
No, historical facts.
No.
I'm going off historical facts, right? That's the
of
fact
what?
that
That they say that it was the fact And
the fact that they were in a position to
what's
know
the fallacy?
they were in a position to know if the resurrection was true or false, right? And so the fact that they were willing to die for the proclamation of the resurrection,
Were they in the position?
Sorry?
Were they in the position to...
Yes, because we have early sources that attest that the disciples of Jesus proclaimed that he resurrected from the dead. And we have early sources that attest that the disciples of Jesus were persecuted and they died for their faith.
Now we're talking about, like you're talking here, I'm talking here. You're talking about the proclamation being proof. I'm saying, for me, the proclamation
That's
is...
not my proof.
What is your proof?
The proof is that the reason why we know that they were telling the truth is because they did not have a motivation to lie, right? Let's say by them lying, they were able to gain money or girls or power.
No, that's not
then
what it
they would have a motive
That's what it is. No,
to lie.
not everybody's interested or motivated by money, by power.
Okay, so-
people are motivated by different things. It can be you feeling validated by your ideas and people validating your ideas.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean,
It's
but
not-
the problem
it's not
is,
necessarily about like physical gain. It can be spiritual gains.
so what
No,
would
you
be
get it?
what would be your alternative to what actually happened, right? Like this. Let's say they lied, okay? Which maybe you're insinuating that they lied, okay? So
It can be a possibility.
Okay,
Because for me,
so my position is that they actually believe to have seen Jesus because they did not have a motivation to lie and they were willing to suffer and die for this. What would be your alternative situation
no, there's no
to
alternative.
disprove my claim?
Listen, I don't have any alternative. It's
Right.
just that when somebody tells me something, like I'm very much after the truth. If I see holes, I'm gonna poke them.
Right.
Be like, what about this? What about that?
Well, let
You know
me
what
tell
I
you
mean?
what atheists say, okay?
Yeah.
The atheists,
Oh, yeah.
because atheists, they actually look at this evidence, right? So
Yeah,
they see
and-
that the disciples of Jesus proclaimed the resurrection very early on, and these were eyewitnesses, right? And they were willing to die for this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they ask themselves, well, how is it that they were willing to suffer and die for this proclamation? Now, because they did not have the motivation to lie, the atheists, they will not concede to the resurrection. They will at least concede that the disciples thought to have seen Jesus resurrected from the dead, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they believe that it was a hallucination, right?
Oh, okay. That's.
Well, that means the same thing.
That's
To
ridiculous.
think that you have seen Jesus
Yeah.
resurrected from the dead and a hallucination are synonymous. That's the same thing.
Not exactly. You can think. Like I said, it doesn't need to
Think you have
happen.
seen with your eyes.
Yes, but that's consciously. If you're conscious and then you see something, you think that you saw something,
It's a hallucination.
it's conscious. An hallucination is conscious.
Yeah, that's the
But, like I said, people can lie to themselves. Meaning, you can think something, thinking you're right, but it's unconscious. Meaning, it's not on your radar that you're wrong.
Okay, but we're talking
Somebody
about.
has to tell you from outside, oh, yo, listen, this is an hallucination, like, genre.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, but we're talking about the atheist position where they say that they thought to have seen Jesus resurrect with their own eyes, right?
Yes.
That is the atheist
That's
position.
possible. That's very possible.
Right, but the problem is there was not.
Literally.
The problem is there was not only one eyewitness. There were multiple eyewitnesses that proclaimed to have seen Jesus resurrect from the dead.
Interesting.
So
Were there, beside the disciples, many more people much more people than that, or was it the disciples?
well, according to the earliest source that we have, we could see it in the epistle of Paul, dated 55 AD, the 20 years after the crucifixion.
Okay.
And he quotes a creed that is even earlier, right? And it says that Christ died according to the scripture, he rose again according to the scripture, he appeared to James, to Peter, to the 12 apostles, and to 500 people, and also to the apostle Paul. So this is a creed that is very early, right? And so we have early evidence that the disciples, multiple disciples, proclaimed that the resurrection happened, right? And so that is why,
But you said also besides the disciples, 500 people?
yeah, that is in the creed, yeah.
Is it proven from the 500 people that
Well,
it is the
well,
case,
again-
or is it mostly disciples?
Well, again, we have to go with
Details are important.
I understand. So we have to go with the evidence that we have, right? So what is the earliest evidence that we have of the resurrection? It's that specific creed that says that Christ died according to the scriptures, he rose again according to the scriptures, and he appeared to over 500 people. And it was written during a time where those 500 people were still alive. So if it was false, they could have disproven the claim. but there is no evidence from first century that disproves the claim of the resurrection.
There's so much ways that can go the other way that, you know, the only way to actually prove it as evidence is hard proof, like hard proof.
So basically,
Kinda-
you're putting a standard that is like impossible. Like
No,
right?
not at all.
Because if you're gonna like refute, then you got to give me at least an alternative. Just not just say, oh, this is possible and this is possible.
Not necessarily.
Look,
Not
let me give you an
necessarily.
example. I cannot prove to you that I'm not in a dream right now and I'm not living in a matrix, right?
What if you are?
And I know that's my point. That's my point. Nothing could be proven 100%, right? That's why we have to go with probability.
Yeah,
that's
but
all that
we
we
can
have.
go as close as we can.
Exactly.
But
So the
what
best
you explain to
explanation-
me, except if you tell me the claims of the 500 people who saw him rise is the same as the disciples,
But that's not even.
then
okay, but that was.
maybe I will entertain that.
But that wasn't even my argument, right? So I just quoted the early source, right? That you asked for, right?
Yeah.
My argument
Really
is.
hard to convince.
Because even atheists, they're skeptical about the 500 people, right?
Right.
But they are in agreement that the followers of Jesus did proclaim the resurrection, so something must have happened, right? They must have seen something, even if it wasn't the resurrection, right? Because they don't believe in the resurrection because they're materialists, right? But they agree that something psychological happened that caused them to believe that they have seen Jesus resurrect from the dead. Okay, so that is an alternative position, right?
Yes.
So now we have to examine the alternative positions that are
Yeah,
possible,
what's true, what's false.
and come to a conclusion of which one is more probable.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. So let's examine it now. Okay. So there's actually a third position where some people say that Jesus actually survived the cross, right? He didn't die and he appeared later, and the disciples thought he rose again. That's another position. Now we're gonna examine these. Okay. The hallucination theory, right? The problem is.
Hallucination, really.
So you don't even believe that?
No, yeah.
Okay, so that's out the window.
No, that's a stretch.
So then that's out the window.
Yeah, that's out.
Okay, good.
Hallucination-
What about the survival theory?
Unless they were smoking something.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I don't think.
Yeah. What about the survival theory? Like
What's the
Jesus
survival?
survived the cross and then he appeared to his disciples.
Survived?
Yeah.
Possible, probable, I don't know.
Possible but very improbable, right?
Yeah, because people were there, like they were after him. I'm sure that actually made sure
Yeah.
he was out.
Exactly. So you would say that even that argument doesn't work either.
Yeah, how do you survive if they take you, they crucify you, they take
Yeah.
you into the tomb, I believe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then and you come out 3 days later?
Yeah.
Like
of
even
course.
if he did survive, he wouldn't be in good enough health for him to be celebrated as a resurrected Christ or as a Lord of the universe,
Basically.
So even that argument doesn't work.
Yeah,
So
what?
now what does that leave us with? It leaves us with the resurrection. So if we examine all the alternatives, unless you could give me another option, the best explanation that we have for all the historical facts in the first century surrounding the crucifixion is the resurrection of Jesus.
Yeah, or it could be, like I said, the psychological thing can be separated, which is why the hallucination thing out the window, because unless you're smoking something, if you're not, I want some of that, but that's not very probable. But psychologically, you can unconsciously, like you would be surprised what the human mind can do.
Yeah, but then,
Unconsciously,
right.
it can happen, which is why I'm saying, okay, the disciples is one thing, because they're so biased, it can be that. But the 500 people, though, they're not so biased. They're far away,
Yeah.
enough far away
Right.
that if 100 people are saying the same thing and they're not that close to him, they're not that biased, and they're like, yo, like a random person says, yo, I saw it.
Yeah.
It's much more probable that your family member telling you that it's your family member. Of course, he's going to agree with you. Of course.
Okay, but
he is your family member.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be eyewitnesses, right?
If your family, whether they were yes or not, if they saw it, they could believe it enough because they're so close to you that they would say, oh yes, it is, because they're close to you. But a random person says, yo, and then another, and then another, and then you have 500 random people saying it's true. It's pretty hard to not believe that it happened.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is
So-
why when you talk about disciples, I was like, yeah, they're so close, they can unconsciously say, yo, this is what it is. The whole life depended on
But we
that.
also have unbiased people who claim to have seen the resurrection. Like Paul, for example, he was not a Christian. He was a Jew, and he was persecuting the church, right?
But is he a disciple?
So he's an apostle after his conversion, after he saw Jesus, right? So before he saw Jesus, he was unbiased, and actually he was opposing Christianity, right? So he was not a candidate that could be manipulated to see something that he wants to see.
I
Right?
get that, but
Because
that
he
was
was
before.
anti-Christian.
Well, by the time Jesus was resurrected, where was he? Was he still on the same position, or was
Yeah, he was a fair. Yeah, he was
after he died?
after he rose again. Yeah, he was persecuting the Christians, right? So he wasn't someone who could be manipulated to see something he wants to see, right? He didn't want to see Jesus resurrect from the dead, but he was one of the persons who saw Jesus resurrect from the dead.
Okay, but Paul is
So-
one.
Right.
Then.
And then we also have the brother of Jesus, right? The brother of Jesus thought Jesus was crazy. He didn't believe he was the Christ, right? Right. So we have multiple people that were unbiased, that were even anti-Christian or anti-Jesus, right? They weren't people who could be manipulated to see something they want to see.
And that was after his resurrection.
Yeah, after the resurrection. Yeah.
Okay, that's much more compelling
Right,
as an argument.
Right. Well.
Way more.
Yeah, exactly.
That okay, I can go with that way more.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
there are some people that were not biased and close to him like
Yeah.
that. Then after he was resurrected,
Yeah.
they were like, yo, it happened.
Yeah, exactly. And
So,
we know
okay,
and
that's interesting.
and James, we know historically by non-Christian sources that he died for his faith, right? This is
And he wasn't.
he died for his faith. He actually became the leader of the church in Jerusalem, right?
And he was in the same unbiased
Yeah,
like
he was
that.
not a believer. He didn't believe that Jesus
Up
was the Messiah.
until he was resurrected.
Up until the resurrection.
But then it begs the question,
What makes the question?
after the resurrection, why are you not here? Why are you not here? If you are back up, why not just go to people and say, hey, I'm actually here?
That's
and
what
go,
he did.
no, even better.
Right.
If you went through death and back,
Yeah.
why not go to the people who crucified and be, yo, okay, you tried, and then what?
He did. He rose again and appeared to multiple people for 40 days.
No, not people who are there. I mean, the authorities.
But now your demand,
No, go straight to the authorities and be like,
your
yo.
demand is unreasonable. Now that's like saying, that's like saying
That's
Jesus.
the first thing I would do.
That's like Jesus. That's like saying Jesus, you have to come down and talk to me face to face right now for me to believe in you.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm just
Ça va?
trying to get.
Vous êtes musulman? Ouais. Est-ce que je peux vous poser des questions? Okay. Alright, bro. I'm gonna let you go, bro. God bless you, bro.
What's your channel?
Andrew Cho. Andrew Space Cho. Yeah.
I'll check you out.
Check me out.
Soon
Yeah,
I'm
I
on there.
appreciate the
love the conversation,
Yeah, me too, man. God bless you.